to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Here he goes. It's Hester. Inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown!
Hurts on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. Missed the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to The Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 101. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Super Bowl week. Big game. Ben, how are we feeling?
Dude, sick again. I don't know. This time last year, I had COVID. I don't have COVID, which is better than, but sick again. I don't know what's going on. Always sick.
Insane.
I'm not a person to get sick. School's kicking my butt, but I think we're caught up, which is doing good. But I'm just excited to watch hopefully a good football game, eat some good food. That's honestly one of my favorite parts about Super Bowl, eating some good food. But then my other favorite part about Super Bowl is the draft that comes right after. That's besides the point. I'm feeling good. How are you doing, big dog?
Pretty good. All I got to say, man, is you better get that sickness figured out within 22 days because that's when the combine starts.
Oh,
I'll be with you. I'm just kidding. It's 22 days. You'll be fine. No, I'm excited, man. I mean, obviously, we'll get to the Super Bowl and everything like that. We'll discuss everything. But yeah, the scouting combine's coming up as well. Like I said, 22 days from today, as of 9:39 p.m. Wednesday, February 7th. I'm very excited for that. Caitlin will be coming with me. We got the tickets and stuff like that. I've kind of introduced her to what to expect because I was a little nervous up front that she would be bored. That's her number one concern with it. But
that was Mary's issue. But no
I'm
offense
telling you,
to Mary,
man.
death, but Caitlin might enjoy that stuff a little bit better than Mary.
Well, okay. Let me ask you a quick question. Okay, it's a quiz question. How many NFL teams are there in the league that have not won a Super Bowl yet?
7 seems too high, but I want to say 7.
There's more than that.
Is it 8?
More than that.
Is it 9? It's not 10.
More than that.
It's not 10.
More than
it's
that.
It's not 11. No way.
More than that.
All right.
There are 12 teams that have not won a Super Bowl.
Wow.
The Bengals, Panthers, Jaguars, Texans.
Yeah.
There's more than that. But there's 4 teams that haven't made it to the Super Bowl. But Caitlin knew it right off the top of her head. She said, because I asked her, without her phone even being in her hand, I said, how many teams have not been, or have not won a Super Bowl? She said 12.
At least someone in your relationship is a ball knower.
Well, yeah. Because, she had asked me, she said, because there are 4 teams that haven't been to the Super Bowl, right? And I'm like, yeah. Like, it's, but it's just crazy, but she didn't name them individually. She just knew the number was 12. So, that alone was just like, okay, like she knows enough to where she should be able to enjoy this. I was a kid watching the combine for the first time and being like, okay, like it's cool to see the 40 times, that's cool. But like it adds a completely different atmosphere to it when you're there. You can eat all the concession stand food in the world. You're sitting in a stadium. Like that's cool enough. So anyways, I hope that she enjoys it as much as, we will, because I know that we're going to. But
yeah, well, I'm going to be 100% honest for everyone here, so you guys know what to expect. We're not going on Sunday. Sunday's the offensive lineman, and as an O lineman, it's fun, and I personally enjoy it, but it's just a lot of big guys in tight suits doing.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just a whole bunch of big guys in tight suits who are doing kick steps on air. It's just not there's not much to be gained from the combine in terms of that, other than the bench press and then like the measurements, and those are the two things we don't see. So yeah, so just be upfront with everyone here. We're not gonna be there for the last day for the linemen.
Right. Yeah. It's just it doesn't make sense, honestly. I mean, I don't know
No,
how to like correctly assess an offensive lineman. So
I'll
you
help,
know,
I'll help
I'm
you.
not
I'll
really
help
too
you.
skilled. Yeah, yeah. I know defensive linemen, like I know a little bit more about that. But you know, it's it's definitely not the most exciting day of the week
No,
for sure.
no.
Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into weekly news.
Ryan and Ben bring you weekly news.
All right, so the Commanders are hiring Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn as their new head coach. Um, Definitely interesting, but the dude's gotten the job done before. He's a good coach for a rebuild, and that's exactly what they're going for.
I
They've
don't.
also hired Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator after he rejected the Raiders job. So you know, a lot of speculations around Caleb Williams and how he's from DC and Cliff Kingsbury coached him and how much the Commanders love Caleb Williams, but
They're gonna trade up number one.
there's one team that's in the way of that, and I can assure you they're not moving away. So, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Um, I was not a fan of the hiring. I mean, so the news that came out as we talked about on the last podcast was the last podcast before that, honestly, was that they were going to hire Ben Johnson, and they ended up not. And then news came out that I guess like teams were a little bit scared by Ben Johnson, and Ben
Price
Johnson
tag was
also
a
was
lot.
asking for way too what?
I was gonna say the same exact thing you were just saying. Yeah, the price tag was way too much. He was asking
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
lot.
Teams were scared. Ben Johnson would have obviously been the right hire, but even outside of Ben Johnson, I don't think Dan was the right hire. Or Dan Quinn was the right hire. He reminds me way too much of the head coach that they've had the last 3 years in Ron Rivera. He's in the same point that he was with Ron Rivera, a Super Bowl head coach who got to the Super Bowl and couldn't get the job done, and is known for his culture and how good he is on defense. And Dan's a little bit younger. Dan, I feel like, has had more success as a coordinator than what Ron has had. But it just reminds me so much of the hire that they just hired 3 years ago. I feel like you need to have a change in philosophy, and all you're doing is continuing that. I would have liked to have seen someone different. A guy like Bobby Slowick. I don't know why he didn't get hired in this cycle. Or Mike Vrabel. I mean, if you're
He
going to
got
go the
offered a higher
defensive guy,
contract. So
yeah.
he
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. If you were going to go the defensive route, you should have done Mike. Mike was a culture builder. Mike was a dude who has gotten it done with less. So it shocked me a little bit that they decided to go the route that they did. So, but it'll be interesting. Dan said, which I can see it, he said it was pretty easy for him to hire Cliff, and him hiring Cliff, he feels the same way like hiring Cliff as he did when he hired Kyle Shanahan as his OC. So maybe we'll see. I mean, everyone thought he was, like this great offensive mind. So we'll see how that turns out for him.
Definitely.
And we have 3 months, 2 months to three. Hold on, January, February, March, April. Yeah, 3 months to really dig deep into it, closer to 4. But I mean, like you were saying, the big thing was Cliff being hired as the OC, and Cliff was the OC for who last season?
USC.
USC, Caleb Williams. They picked number 2, and that's been the hot topic as of recently. Them trading up. What would it take for the Bears? And I'm sure we'll get into it. But as of February 7th at 9:47 your time, what would it take to trade back to number 2?
3 firsts are the definite starting point.
Definitely,
That's what I
it
have to
shocks
say.
me that people were saying, like, people were like, 3 firsts is just like that's way too much. There's no way. Dude, the 49ers trade 3 firsts to move up to the 3rd.
Yeah.
What are we
The
talking
thing
about?
is,
3 firsts being too much.
right. And not only that, but like Adam Schefter said that 2 is the starting point at least for the Bears. And so to me, I think that's very doable for the Commanders, but I think it would be stupid for them. Their GM has repeated multiple times that they'd like to build through the draft more than free agency. They'd like to, they acknowledge that this is a rebuild. It's going to take a little bit of time, but they need to build through the draft. And trading that much for one guy is, despite the fact that it's a great fit, don't get me wrong. That'd be great for him as a person, but it doesn't make sense for a team that's going to be rebuilding. So it just won't make sense. And for the Bears, I mean, sure, Drake May is going to be a good quarterback too, right? For me, I'm not about that. I don't like it. I don't like May. Williams is a surefire number 1 guy. If you've got the number 1 overall pick, you should be picking Caleb Williams, whether that's the Bears or not. I cannot see another quarterback going number 1 overall, let alone another player. So, and I don't understand, the Bears have the first right now, but I'm saying literally just about any other team that, needs a quarterback, Caleb should be the first overall pick. But there's different trade scenarios that have popped up, such as, the number 2 overall, the number 36 overall, the number 40 overall. So the Bears get their second back. They get 67, which is an early third. A 2025 first, a 2025 second, and Terry McLaurin, and then Washington gets number 1. So essentially, the Bears get all those picks, plus Montez Sweat and Terry McLaurin for number 1 overall, just because they do get their second round pick back for that, which would be huge because, given they still have 36 and 40 in that deal, and then you trade Justin Fields. You trade for the number 43, the number 109, 189, 244, and then a 2024 fourth. That's probably the most realistic that you can get. I know we're talking first round and et cetera, but at that point, the Bears have minimum 2 picks in each round up until the 5th round. And they have 3 picks in each round for the 2nd and the 4th round, which is just huge. They would have... Let's see, in the top 125 picks, they would have 10 picks. That's crazy. So, I and that would involve 2 top 10 picks as well.
And we have plenty of time to also talk about this too. So I don't want to dig too deep into the bushes. The other one I liked that kind of has been going around today, and yesterday, and has been picking up steam a little bit, is Fields and 9 for 3. If you could do Fields and 9 for 3, would be awesome. That way you can get Caleb,
Marvin Harrison,
and then you can also get Marvin, your guys' guy. So that'd be really, really fun. And I would be very shocked if that happened.
I would be incredibly shocked if the Patriots were to bite at that, considering Jaden Daniels is going to be essentially Justin Fields, but for a cheaper price over
a cheaper price.
Yeah,
exactly.
And he will be there at 3. He's not going 1 and he's not going 2. It's going to be Drake May and Caleb Williams one way, shape, or form. But yeah, I don't know. Speaking of the Bears, the Raiders hired former Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy as the new offensive coordinator. And I know we don't really necessarily talk much about positional hirings and, offensive defensive coordinator hirings, but there are a couple, like I said, that, we are going to cover from here and there just because of storylines. And the big thing is that there's 2 things coming out of Vegas considering, this hire, right? Obviously, Luke Getsy is not really the greatest offensive coordinator in the league by any means, but they feel like Luke Getsy wasn't the problem. That's the big thing that stands out for me. There's another thing that's stating that the Vegas Raiders loved when, how the offense looked when they got decimated by the Bears. That's just horrible. I think the Raiders game plan was just garbage to begin with. They had a terrible coach at the time. But Getsy is not the guy for this job. And I promise you, I'll stay and I will stand on this hill. It was not Fields. Fields was not the problem here.
Fields was the problem and Luke wasn't the problem. Who was the problem?
Here's the thing. Fields wasn't as much of a problem as Luke Getsy then. If Fields was a little bit of the problem, I will say this. There are weaknesses to Fields' game. He does not like throwing it over the middle.
Yes.
He likes tight roping the sidelines and everything like that. There are parts of his game that he needs to work on. But Getsy and his designed runs, man, absolute garbage. Just horrible. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this offense looks with Devontae Adams. I look forward to looking at how this offense looks with a pocket passer. I'm hoping that Aiden O'Connell isn't the starting quarterback for the Raiders in 2024. I'm hoping that somebody like a veteran presence, steps in, or maybe they get somebody in the first round, but I think that that'd be dumb. The Raiders seem to be like one of those teams where they do like investing in a veteran presence like they did with Jimmy Garoppolo. And so I'm expecting Getsy gets his pocket passer and the offense tries to take off, especially with Josh Jacobs there, if he's there. Because isn't he a free agent this year? I want to say he is.
Yeah. Jimmy?
So,
Who did you say?
Josh Jacobs.
Or Josh Jacobs, yes, he is a free agent.
Yeah.
I thought you said Jimmy.
So,
I'm like, Jimmy is not. But yes, Josh Jacobs.
Future fantasy managers, look at Zamir White. That's all I got to say. But anyways, moving on, Buccaneers Pro Bowl center Ryan Jensen announced he is retiring. Good for him. Honestly, he sustained a pretty serious injury last season. Good for him. He was aging and everything. He was able to cash in one last time. And then after that, he snapped for Tom Brady. That's what he's known for in Tampa Bay. So that's cool.
Yeah.
This one is one that we talked about briefly before the show. Chargers will listen to both Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa trade offers going into the season. It's just a rumor that we're reading right now. I'm not saying that they're on the trade block. They're not actively trying to get rid of them. However, Ben, I want you to speak your piece on it real quick, and then I'll make my points about this.
No, I don't think there's much to it. I'm going to be honest with you. This has been going around for a very, very long time. That like for the last 2 or 3 years now, it feels like they've been trying to get rid of one of them. They both produce really, really well, and honestly, their contracts aren't bad for the edge market. What the edge market demands now, I just think it comes down to their edge player that they got in this past draft class. I'm blanking on his name here. Let me look it up for you. Has been playing absolutely phenomenal, and I just think it comes down to them just like liking how much he's played and being able to clear $15 million or whatever their contract is. And I don't know off the top of my head what it was, but I just know that it's not bad. But again, I think Tui Pelotu, that's his name. The edge rusher that they got out of USC this past year has played very, very well, and I think that's just what it comes down to. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just another season of them saying that, and then it just being, both of them end up on the roster again, like it's been the last couple of years.
My thing is that they've got an extremely high, price tag. So let's look at this really quick because this will probably be the most interesting point about this. So let's see, contracts by team. So let's look at, okay. I'm going to look at Khalil Mack's contract and see what would happen if he were, traded, etc. Right? He's a free agent next year.
He's not as old as I thought. Wow. He's older than I thought too.
Let me see real quick. Let's see. All right. Let's say that he were traded. Oh, it's got to be over the cap, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Trade. Okay. Pre-June 1st. Okay. So if they were to trade Khalil Mack, they'd have $15 million in dead money, but they would have $23 million in cap savings. Okay, so there's that. Looking at it post June 1st, they would have $15 million in dead money, but $23 million in cap savings post June 1st for Khalil Mack. Okay, in the trade. For Joey Bosa. For Joey Bosa, they'd have $22 million in dead cap, but $14 million in savings. So wouldn't make sense for pre-June. 1st, but post June 1st, 14 million in dead cap, 22 million in savings. So, essentially they're the same exact kind of player, money wise. You're not going to see any of these, like either one of these guys cut. I mean, it's essentially the same exact savings, yes, but you can get something for these guys. Whether that's a 1st-round pick or a 2nd-round pick is subjective. Ben doesn't think that you can get a 1st.
No, neither of them. I don't think if your team is giving up a 1st-round pick for either of them, your team is dysfunctional. I'm sorry. Joey Bosa has not he's a good edge rusher, but he's not an elite edge rusher. I mean, the most sacks he's had in a season was 12.5 sacks 6 years ago now at this point. And Khalil Mack is the dude who's produced more. I mean, he had 17 sacks this past season, but he's 32 years old. You're not paying a 1st-round pick for a 32-year-old, and you're not paying a 1st-round pick for a dude whose best season he's had as a pass rusher was 12.5 sacks 7 years ago, or 6 years. 7 years ago, happened 2017. Yeah, 7 years ago now at this point. It would be, I think, you're a bad franchise if you do that. I think personally, it's just you could draft Chop Robinson, right? That's what I have
Chop Robinson's solution here. So let's make a prediction here. Okay. Who gets more trade value if they're traded? Joey Bosa or Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, without a doubt.
Really?
He's a younger player and he plays a more important position. Justin Fields 100. I have no doubt in my mind it's Justin Fields. There's no doubt in my mind that it's Justin Fields. Again, Joey Bosa might get you a 2nd-round pick. I think he's probably going to give you a 3rd-round pick that could turn into a 2nd-round pick if he gets 11 sacks or something, or 12 sacks or something. But I would be very, very surprised if he gets, because I think you're going to at least get a 2nd for Justin Fields. The rumor going on that Shefty reported, I think it was Shefty, it might have been Ian.
It was Shefty.
Reported that it was a 2nd bare minimum for Fields and maybe even a 1st for Fields. And I don't think you're getting close to that with Joey. I think at the very, very most, you're getting a 2nd-round pick for Joey versus if you're trading Justin Fields, you're getting a 2nd-round pick and more. I think it's Fields. Without a second guess, I think it's Fields.
That's interesting. I mean, it was just a fun question. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Next up, Devin Hester and then Steve Mongo McMichael, and as well as Julius Peppers are expected to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at the Honor Show on Thursday. So be on the watch for that tomorrow, or today if you guys are listening after the show has been put out on all platforms. Devin Hester, greatest return man of all time. I would say he's the most deserving out of these 3. But I would say that it took way longer than expected for me personally. We've talked about this on the train ride to the Bears and Chiefs game for the preseason game. I want to say it was last season. And, Devin Hester is my greatest return man of all time.
That's
it's, we can agree to disagree. It's okay.
I'll give it to you.
But yeah, Devin Hester, just fantastic. He's in the pre-show, the intro for our show. So, applaud to Devin Hester for that. And then the last 2 points, former Alabama head coach Nick Saban is joining ESPN's College Game Day as an analyst. I'm pretty sure that we had expected this to happen. And then SpongeBob is set to perform Sweet Victory during Nickelodeon's Super Bowl broadcast. This is great. Long time coming. I'm going to watch that for sure.
What was that? Gosh, what was that one clip of the dude pronouncing Nickelodeon wrong?
No. Was it Nickelodeon?
Yeah, it was Nickelodeon. He called it like Nickelodeon. It was funny. It was a sports clip. I'm sorry, guys. It was some dude ranting about sports being on Nickelodeon. I wanted to bring it up, but my brain function isn't quite there today.
Let's get our next segment in here.
They say winning isn't everything, and that may be true in some cases, but right now, let's make some money. It's time for Pigskin Payout.
Awesome. So, Ben, you've got a special one for us today. Why don't you start us off?
I have, So I have 2, but my girlfriend Mary, who you guys have, I think she came on pretty. Yeah, she's been on the show a couple of different times. You guys will probably see. Never mind, I don't want to say that. But she talked to me last weekend about how she has a gut feeling about this, and she wants to place a parlay, and she really believes that this is going to happen. And mind you guys, she's a Swiftie, so that's you take this into account when reading
Oh
it.
man.
But I wouldn't give this to you guys if I didn't think that this was a half decent parlay. Like, I don't think it's a bad parlay, and I helped her create it. Obviously, like she didn't just go on, like she doesn't quite know what she's doing, so I helped her work her way through it. But I'm gonna be honest, I like it. I mean, her parlay gives you plus 551 odds, which is really really good. That'll give you $10 to win 551, or that'd be $100 to win 551,
Yeah.
or $10 to win $10 to win $55, which is huge. Like I said, she's a Swiftie. Do with that information as you guys want. Obviously, it means she's pulling for the Chiefs here. She's gonna have the Chiefs money line. She's gonna have Travis anytime touchdown scorer because of course Travis has to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
And again, of course Travis is gonna pop off because Taylor Swift. He's gonna go over on his yards at plus 72.5. And if you played anything like he did against the Ravens, he's gonna shatter that mark. And let's be honest, the rate. We'll get into that in a second when we talk about the game. And then Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 touchdowns and Pat Mahomes over 225 yards. And again, that gives you plus 551. So I was a fan of it. Obviously, if you're a Chiefs fan and you think the Chiefs are going to win, I think that's a really, really good one. If you don't think the Chiefs are going to win, you think the Niners are going to win, obviously you're not going to bet on this one. I mean, I could even see you taking out the Chiefs money line and just doing Travis anytime touchdown score, Pat over 1.5, Pat over 225, and Travis over 72.5. I like that even. But that's Mary's at plus 551. Mine, being the little weenie that I am, I'm not betting on the money line because I feel like every single time I bet money line, I always lose. So we're doing a little bit of hers and we're doing a little bit of mine. We're doing Travis anytime touchdown score, Pat over 225 as well. Pacheco over 50 yards and Brendan Ayuk over 50 yards. It's not crazy odds, but it's good odds. It's plus 391. And I feel
Wait,
like
say it again. I'm sorry. It was
Yeah, you're all good. I'm talking a little fast here. Travis anytime touchdown score. Pat Mahomes over 225.
Okay.
Pacheco over 50 yards and Brendan Ayuk over 50 yards.
Is that rushing yards for Pacheco?
For Pacheco, yeah. Yep.
And then Ayuk over 50 yards?
Yep. And that's plus 391.
All right. Yeah, I don't hate either one of them, honestly. Because mine is CMC anytime touchdown. Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. Mahomes 250 plus passing yards. I'll one up you by 25 yards there. And then Brock Purdy 250 plus passing yards for plus 619 odds. So, I don't think CMC is going to play in a Super Bowl where he doesn't score a touchdown, especially in a Shanahan offense.
That one scares me, I'm going to be honest with you. Because he was on his 17-game touchdown scoring streak or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then the one game I bet on him to score an anytime touchdown score. Of course, he doesn't score a touchdown.
Fine.
It's just it's haunting for me. So I'm just not going to do it, even though it feels so safe.
Yeah.
Not going to do it.
Yeah, I would even throw money down on Travis Kelce proposing.
I'm not. I would. I think for that, there's a lot that has to go into that, and then on top of that, you have to be confident the Chiefs are going to win because there's no way he proposes to Taylor Swift the Chiefs don't win. So not only are you betting Chiefs money line, you're also betting this. And I was listening to someone talking about it. There's so much that has to go into that. Like, he has to talk to his publicist, has to talk to her media team, probably has to talk to her. You can't just do that with how popular she is. There's so much that has to go into that with him doing that on a public stage. I would be very, very surprised. But it's good odds. It's plus 1,500 or something that happens. So, I mean, even if you do that straight up, I mean, it's good odds.
Yeah. I'm looking up, fun Super Bowl bets, for this year. And, you know, there's always, you know, your Gatorade color, you know, your coin toss, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, I want to say if you want to bet on something like that, I want to say the last one for the Chiefs was orange. So just something to note.
Yeah, it's
there.
been orange. It's been orange every single time for them.
Yeah.
I wanted to put orange, but it's not yet. Like those props aren't yet like on the betting apps,
Mhm.
or at least on FanDuel and on DraftKings or not. But like I'm gonna do a separate one where I just put like $10 on the Gatorade color and it'd be orange. I'm pretty confident it's gonna be orange.
So these are fun prop bets for this revolving the game or involving the game. The Drake curse. What team apparel will Drake wear on Super Bowl Sunday? The Chiefs minus 170, 49ers plus 130 there. How many times will Roger Goodell be shown? Over under 1.5. Will there be a scoregami? If you guys don't know what that is, that's a unique point, you know, a final score that happened in, you know, the league's history. So something that hasn't happened before. Yes at yes at plus 2,500, no at minus 10,000. Will there be any player ejected for throwing a punch or fighting? Yes at plus 700, no at minus 1,600. Will any player propose to his girlfriend on the field after the game? Yes at plus 210, no at minus 190. I would say absolutely. Absolutely. Will either kicker hit the upright or crossbar on a missed field goal or extra point attempt? Yes at plus 400, no at minus 700. Will the power go out at the Super Bowl?
With how Jake Moody's been doing, though, I kind of like that. But that's besides the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Will the power go out at the Super Bowl is plus 1,600, no at minus 15,000. So, just, you know, some fun ones just to keep track of. But yeah, I think that I would the proposal after the game is like pretty much surefire.
Well,
it's just whether or not it makes a headline or not. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's not gonna happen. I'm telling you, it's not.
I'm not saying it doesn't have to be Travis Kelce. I'm just saying somebody else.
It's not. Well, I think it was in reference to Travis Kelce. I would be very surprised if it happens for anyone. I'm trying to find which betting app it was, and I can't. So excuse me for this, but I can't find the betting app.
Oh, are you trying to find the one that I put in the chat?
Which one? I've been looking at my phone trying to find it.
So there was one that I had found on Bovada.
Bovada, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah, so Bovada has plus 100,000 odds that aliens take over Vegas and the game ends in a tie. You got to toss $1 on that, right?
$1 on that, right? What does that win you? $1 to win 1,000?
Yeah, 100,000. Yeah, I think
$1 to win 100,000.
Maybe $1.
I think it's $1 to win 1,000
or something. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, the way that they're gonna make money off of that is by morons like us that say you got to toss $1 on that just in case.
You got to toss $1 on it, right? Just
you have to.
The odds are too good. Let it ride.
Yeah, everybody saw what happened in Miami. You have to. But yeah, obviously probably not. But anyways, let's go ahead and get right into our Super Bowl picks.
You think you know football? Well, prove it. This is Pigskin Pick'em.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The last game of the year. This one, let's do it. I don't know. Ben, let's just get right into it. What are you thinking?
I'm picking Chiefs, man. I'm picking Chiefs. And is it a spite pick? Yes, but also the Niners have not looked good in the two playoff games that they have played. They have not looked good. And they've gotten very lucky fourth quarters and very lucky things to happen, like Kendall Vildor being bad and Jahmyr Gibbs fumbling the football, which just will not happen for the Chiefs. The Chiefs play good, solid football. And outside of like the couple drops that they have, it just I'm not worried. I think the Chiefs are the more disciplined team, and I think the Chiefs are going to win. And I mean, if anyone was going to stop Travis Kelce, it was going to be Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. And
Mhm.
yes, I think that Fred Warner's better, but if we're talking about just strictly cover grades, the best like tight end coverage player this year was Kyle Hamilton,
Yeah.
and Travis Kelce went for over 100 yards.
Right.
Travis Kelce has a big game, but it matters most, and I think he's gonna have another really big game. I think it's gonna be the Chiefs, and also I just cannot stand Niners, and I'm gonna be very salty if the Niners win the Super Bowl.
I cannot stand the Chiefs. If everybody
There you go.
here watching this or listening to this later on has seen the podcast before, I am not a fan of Taylor Swift either.
Well,
You guys
okay.
know that for sure. So
I'll let you finish.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs here.
Hey,
I think that the Chiefs are surefire to win strictly because the NFL hates me and I'm a Bears fan. That's just what it is. No, my Super Bowl fantasy ending would be the Chiefs were to win, Travis Kelce retires, and he proposes to Taylor Swift on the 50. Okay. And that way, no more Taylor Swift breakup albums, and Travis Kelce's out of the league, so Patrick Mahomes loses his top target. It ends just awesome. It's great. And so that's what I'm gonna go with. And I think that this is it's a honeymoon ending to the Chiefs Super Bowl run with the NFL, just because the NFL loves
bold for you to assume just because Travis retires that they're not going to be back in the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, they shouldn't have made it this year.
I
They
don't
shouldn't have
know.
made it
We'll
this year.
see. We'll see. I will see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they take whoever they're like Keon Coleman in the first round and then like Lad McConkey in the second round, and they're just right back here next year.
I mean, Rashee Rice is going to be good next year, man. I'm just like,
I understand. Is Rashid Rice, Lad
That's
McConkey, and Keon Coleman with Pat Mahomes is going to be scary, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. This next segment we don't have a draft or a drop for, so this one we're going to do in like Gridiron Goofs, but I knew we kind of needed like a little bit of a filler segment because we're only 37 minutes into this thing. So
real quick too, before we get into this, the whole Taylor Swift stuff is getting blown out of proportion though. Like everyone is complaining, and it's a little annoying. I understand that. But the New York Times put out like an article and they tracked how often she was shown on the television. And on average, she was only shown on the television for 36 seconds. What are we doing complaining about Taylor Swift being Spike Lee is shown on television at the Knicks games longer than what Taylor Swift is. Right?
Those are
like
Knicks games, whatever.
But that's my point. Like she's shown on television for 36 seconds. I don't understand why people are getting so mad about it. Like they're gonna pan to people in the crowd anyways. So why does it matter if it's her for 36 seconds or some rando for 36 seconds?
I'd rather see the Chargers chick. I'll be honest. Anyways, but yes, we're doing the top NFL quarterback draft. Ben, do you want to explain this one a little bit? This is your segment, buddy.
Yeah, guys, this was just like the running back one. If you guys listened last episode, we're just gonna I'll take 5. He's gonna take 5. We're just gonna take whoever we think are the best quarterbacks all time. This is pretty straightforward, I would say. It doesn't get much easier than this. It's a pretty simple topic. I think you were first last time, so I think I get the number 1 overall pick.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I wonder who I'm picking, guys. I'm picking Tom Brady.
Okay.
I'm interested to see where you're going because I know who I would pick, and I think you're going to go with who I would pick at the 2 spot. But maybe you won't. But I think we're on the same page here, which is funny because we just talked about it.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, that's my guy.
It has to be. This guy's awesome. That's why I want Caleb Williams so bad.
Yeah. And then here's where it gets really interesting because now with the 3rd overall pick, it's between 2 players. I think these 2 players are on the same tier one another. And I'm gonna be honest with you because I'm just gonna say their names because they're not gonna fall to the 5th pick. I'm deciding between Joe and Peyton here. And I don't know who I want. And I feel like they're on the same page. It could really go either way. I'm gonna go with Peyton because I saw Peyton play. I'm gonna go with Peyton because I saw Peyton play. Not in person, but growing up, not in person, but I watched him play, and obviously I've seen Joe Montana play and all that jazz, but
Yeah.
it's different. It's different watching it like live as everything's happening. I'm going Peyton.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Joe Montana then. I was hoping Peyton wouldn't be this early, but yeah, I'll go with Joe Montana.
There you go. Here's where it really gets interesting. I feel like the board really opens up at this point. I feel like those are without a doubt the top 4 quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. And then now you can really go. I feel like here the next couple of picks are going to be pretty like historic picks. But I mean, if we're talking historic, I mean we could go all the way back to Johnny Unitas. I'm a little tempted to go Johnny Unitas or someone like Bart Starr, which I'm not going to do because it's just a different league now. But I'm really deciding between Johnny Unitas and another John here. I don't know. I think we're going to go with the best quarterback prospect in the history of sports, or the best quarterback prospect in the history of the game. And I think we're going to go Johnny Elway. John Elway.
Okay.
Welcome to the team here, bud.
I'm gonna go with Terry Bradshaw.
Wow. Terry Bradshaw was not even on my list. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
He was 4-0 in the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, he has the ring.
4-0, and he's never thrown an interception in those Super Bowls either. So there we go.
Yeah, he has the rings for it for sure. Well, that makes this next pick pretty easy for me, to be honest with you. I was deciding between John Elway and Johnny Unitas. And Johnny Unitas made it to me in the 4th round, so we're going to pick Johnny Unitas.
Okay. And then let's see.
Options with this last pick.
Man.
I kind of wanted Drew Brees, but it's just too many options on the board for me to pick Drew Brees at this point in time.
Yeah.
Unless you don't go there, if you take one player, I'll go with Drew Brees, but I really hope you don't take my guy here.
See, I don't think Drew Brees is a top 10 quarterback all time.
I think he is. I think he was the most efficient passer to ever play the game.
Man, I guess I will go with Troy Aikman then.
Whew. Okay. So now you're really going to make it tough on me. I was deciding between Troy and Dan.
Okay.
I was deciding between Troy and Dan. I was kind of hoping you were going to take Dan to make this a little bit easier. The issue with Dan Marino, and I could be wrong. I don't think that Dan Marino has ever won a Super Bowl. No, he has not. Dan Marino has never won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, I'm really deciding between Dan Marino and Drew Brees. And people might poop on Drew Brees, but Drew Brees is the most efficient passer to ever play the game. Point blank period. There's not been a more efficient passer to ever play the game than Drew Brees. That being said, I'm going Dan Marino.
Dan Marino,
Sorry,
that's fair.
Come on, you have to take him here. Take him here. Take Aaron here. Do it.
No. God,
Do
no.
it.
He will never be on one of my lists.
it.
I don't care. No. Absolutely not. Okay. I've got man. Dan Marino was a good pick, man. Dude, I would pick Brett Favre over Aaron Rodgers. I'll be honest with you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think Brett Favre's had such a sour way to end his career. I couldn't pick him over Aaron.
Steve Young. How is he not?
Steve Young over Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's not going to be happy with you.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
I take Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre both clear Steve Young too.
Yeah, I mean it's
clear him too. But I understand your bias. It's okay. And also, like Brett Favre was an awful person, and I wouldn't want anything to do with him.
So is Aaron,
Please
but
don't
to
us, but
So Ben's team consists of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, John Elway, Johnny Unitas, and Dan Marino, an absolute powerhouse of a squad. Then I have Patrick Mahomes, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, and Steve Young. So
Super Bowls, man. Super Bowls. That's what your team
absolutely.
consists of. A lot
Hey
of
man, Super Bowl week. What do you blame me?
Pro football isn't the only game in town. Let's take a stroll to Ben's College Corner.
All right. So, I just want to remind everybody because I don't know exactly what
Yeah.
you have. I mean, I know that it was Senior Bowl week and everything, so I'm sure that you'll kind of focus on that barely.
Nope.
I mean,
There's nothing. There's not. I touched on the Senior Bowl last week, guys. Like I
Yeah.
said, this segment's going to be phased out next week.
Spencer Rattler kind of going up the draft board, though, I will say.
Yes, I did. If you guys didn't hear me talk about the Senior Bowl, go back. Quick recap: Spencer Rattler looked really good. I talked about it a little bit more yesterday. He was by far the best quarterback there, or not yesterday, last week's pod. Spencer Rattler was by far the best quarterback there at the Senior Bowl, which is wild when you consider that Bo Nix and Michael Penix were also there. But he looked the best. Quinyon Mitchell firmly cemented himself in the first round. Guys like Roman Wilson, Matt McConkey, both cemented themselves as day 2 picks. I'm blanking on his name, but Missouri's edge rusher might have just played himself into the second round. Gosh, now I'm going to have to look this up because I'm going to be mad that I don't know his name. And then if we're talking about the best weeks as a whole, Jackson Powers looked just phenomenal. I mean, I think he's going to be – I'd be very, very surprised if he makes it out of the first round now with how well he's played. But again, if you guys want to hear me dig a little bit more into that, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, Ryan. But if you guys want to listen to a little bit more about that, go back and listen to the last podcast. There wasn't much that I'm going to say today or that I could say today that I didn't talk about last podcast. The game was fun to watch, but I didn't, it is what it is. But go back, listen to that if you guys are interested. And again, tune in next week. Ryan is going to talk about draft prospects, guys. Well, me and Ryan, but Ryan's going to talk about some draft prospects.
Let's go ahead and move on to our next one.
It's time for America's favorite game, Weddle.
All right, guys. So Ben won last week. He's up 33-22 all time. I'm hoping
Darius Robinson, that's his name, by the way. Sorry. Mizzou's edge rusher.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. So here we go, guys. Oh, hold on a minute. For some reason, it's not working for me. Try capturing a different screen to see if this continues. Okay. 1 second, guys. I think I have a fix to this.
We can always use mine too. We need to.
What's the weddlegame.com? Okay. Okay. Yeah, this should absolutely work. And I don't know why it wasn't to begin with. Yeah, there we go. Somehow less ads on this one. I like that. That's cool.
We love to see it.
All right. So, Ben, let me get rid of this real quick. You can start us off.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to start where we start off each and every week. AJ Brown. Oh. It's okay. I would have said Devontae Smith, but it wouldn't have done all the same.
It wouldn't have done anything. Yeah.
It maybe would have done something with age, but that's it.
We're talking AFC. Give me Isaiah Pacheco. No, but it is an AFC West running back.
Okay. So that now gives us Javonte, Josh Jacobs. What? Javonte, Josh Jacobs.
Oh, I know who it is.
Eckler, can't be Spiller. Go for it. If you know who it is, it's easy.
Oh, no, right. No, I don't. Yeah.
He's too old.
Jeez. Okay.
Too old.
So, Spiller?
Spiller's too big. I'm almost certain Spiller's too big. I mean, this guy's short.
So, it has to be Javonte then, right?
Maybe try Javonte, but I didn't think Javonte was that short. Yeah.
Jeez. So it is a Denver running back. Who plays for Denver? Who's their other running back? Why is this easy mode? That'll suck.
Why is this easy mode?
Who's their
My
other?
head is hurting, man. They've been
Are you looking it up?
through a whole bunch of. Yeah, I'm looking it up. I'll let you know if you got this.
Oh,
This is
I'm looking it up right
frustrating.
now. It's okay.
Okay.
Jaleel McLaughlin.
Is it Jaleel?
Yeah.
Is it really Jaleel? He's had one good game, and they're throwing him in easy mode.
It
I
is,
probably would have
yeah.
got him in hard mode. That's absurd.
It is Jaleel McLaughlin. Wow. All right.
Put him in hard
Well,
mode.
hard
Shoot,
mode.
dude.
Dang
It'll be like Fred Warner or something.
it. I want it so bad to be Gervin Dexter.
I
You can
know
go.
you do. Oh, let me think of. Oh, Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes.
All right. Kansas City.
Oh, come on. I know who it is.
Nope.
It's not defense and it's not offense. It's Butker.
It has to be. Yeah.
Woo! Another one for the
Wow.
Bucks boys. Huge. Shorter podcast today.
Goodness.
What's the count up? Am I back up by 11 now here?
You are up by 12 now. Yeah.
Huge. We'll see. I'm waiting for the day. I believe it. You know, the plan is to do this podcast for until me and Ryan die. I believe Ryan will make it back at some point. Weddle's not going anywhere. Ryan, I believe that you're going to make you come back. I believe it.
It's going to be the
shorter
most
episodes.
triumphant comeback ever. It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
So, yeah, but anyways, any closing comments before the Super Bowl?
No, I mean, if you guys obviously drink responsibly, if you're 21, it's going to be nice. Sit back, drink a cold one, maybe put in some outrageous bets. I know of a friend.
Definitely.
I know of a friend who put in a crazy bet in the Rams Super Bowl. It was a 9-legger, won over $1,000. A 10-legger. I wonder who that'd be. But put in a 10-legger. And yeah, won $3,000. Have fun with it. It's a Super Bowl. The favorite part about it is getting together, cracking open a couple cold ones.
Brewskis.
Drink responsibly. Yeah, drink responsibly. Cook some good food. I'm making some Italian beef. I'm making some little smokies. Maybe some buffalo chicken dip. You know, eat good food. Have a good time. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your week.
Yes, yeah. He said it. Thank you guys for listening. If you can, please follow us on all of our socials on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, etc., etc. You guys can follow us on Twitter individually. You guys can see our Twitter @ right to the left of our faces, our beautiful faces. Woo. Guys, when we see you next, it'll be the off season. The off season is upon us. It's kind of sad. It's bittersweet, but enjoy this last game, whether you're a fan of the Chiefs or the Niners. Best of luck to either one of you. And until next time, this has been I'm sorry. Regional Radio Sports Network, Uppercuts Grooming, and Spotify for Podcasters. Thank you so much for helping us grow as a podcast. But until next time, we will see you guys later. This has been the Pigskin Project.